We're here at Men in America Stadium following day 4 of ASU fall camp for Devil's Digest. I'm Justin Lesertosa. That's publisher Hode Urbino, and Hode. A pretty productive 4 days for ASU to start out the fall. And on offense, obviously the story last year was Cam Skattebo, who's now with the New York Giants, surprising a lot of fans in preseason camp. But that's not the story for this ASU team. And Kenny Dillingham talked about after practice that some of the running backs are kind of taking that personally as a bit of disrespect. You got a couple running backs in that room who can make an impact, and then a lot of guys just across the board offensively who can make an impact. What have you liked out of ASU's unit so far?
Yeah, first of all, I'd say in general terms, Justin, ironically, just 20 minutes ago when Kenny Dillingham addressed the media after practice, he called Saturday night's practice here at Mount America Stadium the best session they had in fall camp. He said the team was able to recapture that factor, which in Kenny Dillingham's opinion is really just the love of playing football, feeling how fortunate you are to play football for Arizona State. And that might sound like a cliche, but when you have that passion, when you have the motivation, I think everything just trickles down in the right direction. So that's something that's been evident really on offense and on defense today. And I think the best practices to date, even though we're only 4 practices in, have been the practices where a lot of back and forth between the offense and the defense. And sure enough, Saturday night was like that. Now, to your point about the running backs, look, I think this running back by committee, at least for the early returns for fall camp, is going to work. I feel that Kyson Brown, Kanye Udo, and Raleek Brown, the top 3 running backs of this group, are really complementing each other, or each bringing a different skill set to the table. I think that maybe one guy that's standing a little out more than the others is actually Kanye Udo, who I think had a very, very quiet spring, transferred from Army, maybe was still acclimating in those 15 sessions in March and April. But I think we're almost seeing a different player than we did in spring, showing definitely a lot of agility, a lot of twitchiness that we haven't seen in the spring. Now, don't get me wrong, I still think that the twitchier athletes in that room are Raleek Brown and our Kyson Brown, but nonetheless, Kanye Udo is definitely showing that he's deserving of a lot of good number of reps on this running back by committee approach that I think we're all going to see this year from the offense. But I think the other side of the coin, Justin, on the offense is really what's going to happen with the passing game, because there's more depth, there's more talent, especially at the tight end group. And, we're going to see if it's really going to be an offense with all said and done. Is it really going to throw more on first down than it did last year? And when I say throw more, I'm talking about really a significant difference in percentage. But Sam Levitt definitely has all the tools at his disposal. And it's not just Jordan Tyson, which is the most obvious one. It's Jaron Hamilton, the transfer from Alabama, Jalen Moss, the transfer from Fresno State, Malik McClain, who we know redshirted last year, but was allowed to play in the postseason and played very well in those 2 games, Big 12 Championship and the Peach Bowl. And then you have the tight end group. I mean, absolutely embarrassment of riches over there with returning starter Shimon Mateer, Kamari Anderson, transfer for Kentucky, freshman sensation A.J. Ia. We saw a lot of 12 personnel tonight, and I think that's definitely going to be one alignment that we might see early and often in the season from the Sun Devils. And look, let's not forget about the front 5. Cam Skattebo will be the first one to tell you that he owes a lot of his success to that offensive line, which lost only 1 starter from last year. So having 4 returning starters, especially when you're dealing with a running back by committee, when you're still trying to figure out how good that group can be, I think it's huge that you have so much talent up front there in the trenches. So, overall, I think the offense, when they had their good days, when we saw the competitive back and forth, there definitely really was a lot to get excited about. And again, just a lot of depth at wide receiver, a lot of depth at tight end. I think that, ASU, which probably has a lot of skeptics, maybe more outside Maricopa County than inside of it, how is life going to look after Cam Skattebo? I think the early returns to fall camp are telling me that this offense is going to be just fine.
Yeah, a lot to like for ASU's offense so far, but with all that talk surrounding the offense, it seems like the defense has gone a bit overlooked, and at points throughout this fall camp, this defense has looked flat out dominant. What have you liked out of this defense that returns all but 1 starter?
Yeah, all but 1 starter in Shamari Simmons. And, maybe some people think that this defense is going to go as far as that starting nickel to replace Shamari Simmons is going to take them. I don't really necessarily agree with that, but I think Montana Warren, still very early in camp, but looks like he's in a very, very good spot, I think, to nail that starting position. Kendrick Breedlove, one of the defensive back transfers from Purdue really has been pushing him. We saw him play some cornerback tonight too. So curious to see what happens with him in terms of his spot. But overall, this defense really just has so much talent, so much been there, done that aspect to this group that there's no reason to think they can't play even better than they did in 2024. And 2024 was a heck of a season for this defense, which was top 30 in nationally in a lot of the major statistical categories. We're seeing guys like Clayton Smith, Prince Jorba, the two starting defensive ends, heavier, stronger than they were last year. We're seeing grizzled veterans like Justin Woodley and like Anthony Cooper, who can play inside, who can play outside, just to offer a lot of versatility. CJ Fide, obviously an absolute anchor for the interior of that defensive line. Jacob Kangaika, who didn't practice in the spring due to injury, playing well over there. So really just a lot of depth over there on the front four. Linebackers, it's almost like boring. It's almost, you just take it for granted how good this team is, or this unit, I should say. When you have Keisha Allen and Jordan Crook, established starters, but very good players backing him up, and Cyrus Fiaseo and Martell Hughes, who was a freshman last year, and maybe kind of surprised Sunday he did not redshirt. But we've seen it in spring practice that this guy is not only a vital component for the linebacker group and for the entire defense, but this is absolutely a foundation block for the linebacker group, for the future. Kenny Dillingham said the other day, when it comes to safeties group, that stars like Xavier Alford and Miles Rouser have been held out. So that gave us a chance to see the two transfers, Eddie Whistler from Washington State and Mo Williams from Houston. And I think those two players have definitely flashed. You also see a young player like Chris Johnson, who delivered some big hits, ironically, earlier tonight. I think he's showing that he wants to carve his niche in the two deep. So I think the safety group is also in really good shape. The cornerbacks group, Manchester City's group, very established, proven two starters, Javon Robinson, Keith Abney. And the question is who are the players that are going to back him up. Rodney Bimage had an outstanding spring. I think is really continuing that momentum in fall camp. So that is one player that really want to look to. So again, I mean, you just have like a great mix of talented veteran players who know the system inside out, and some really key pieces when it comes to the transfers, especially at safety, that can really just add more depth and enhance this group that much more. And let's not forget about special teams. Kenny Dillingham said that Saturday night was the best special team session he's been part of since being head coach at Arizona State. Obviously, kicker Jesus Gomez from Eastern Michigan, we already saw quite a bit in spring what he's able to do. And in fall camp, he's definitely continuing his momentum over there. You have another newcomer, Matt McKenzie, a punter from Australia. And not only can he just really master that rugby Australian punting style, but his hang time is just absolutely unbelievable. I mean, you can honestly just like go grab some lunch in the MU, come back, and his punt is still going to be hanging in the air over there. But don't get me wrong, Canyon Floyd, the starter from last year, is definitely holding its own. So quite the competition in punter. And maybe this is going to be a situation where we're going to see just two punters just rolling out there on really on a normal basis each and every Saturday. So special teams is really a lot to be excited. And maybe that's going to be one of those X factors that a lot of people aren't really talking about. But when we talk about losing guys like Cam Scadaboo and then Shamari Simmons, maybe now having an enhanced special teams, along with some other aspects, I should say, really can ensure that ASU can play at the same level they played last year, maybe even eclipse it.
Yeah, this team looks deep, it looks complete, but nowhere near perfect. And Kenny Dillingham's already alluded to that throughout some of these practices. In a couple of weeks until game day here at Mountain America Stadium against NAU to kick off the season. ASU, they're going to Camp Tonto Zona next week. Is there anything you'd like to see for the Sun Devils to potentially keep rising for that first game of the season?
Yeah, I think, by the end of the Camp Tonto Zona, which is going to be a week from today, you really just want to see just maybe, I guess, the starting spots in the two deep established. I know coach is going to tell you that there's no magic due date where you have to see all this established, but I think, the more doubt you really remove from the equation, the more established the group can be. I think that's really going to be huge. You obviously want to get some of your starters back from injuries, like Xavier Alford and Miles Rouser at safety. Those are definitely minor elements, and really just keeping them out as a precaution. But ultimately, you just don't want it to be like lingering more and more and more, and maybe they're just only able to fully practice on game week. So that's something that you definitely want to look at. Wide receiver group, I think is quite a competition. I think between Jaron Hamilton and Malik McClain, who's going to be that third starting wide receiver. I mean, but both of them, have definitely had their moments. I think Hamilton maybe played better than McClain so far, but I wouldn't say it's by a country mile. And I'm just curious to see, how that battle in specific does take place, and also how just the rest of the depth of the wide receiver group is looking. One player that I didn't mention, I probably should, freshman Ryan Nelms, local product here from Santan Valley. He really has had a strong fall camp after having kind of a slow spring practice. So I've been really impressed with what he can do, and just again with all the depth that you have there at the wide receiver group, guys like Corey Butler, Zachariah Sample. How does that two deep really shape at the end of Camp Arizona? I think that's definitely going to be interesting to see. Those are some of the things that you like to see sorted out. I don't think there's any burning questions or huge problems that ASU needs to solve this upcoming week, or needs to solve at Camp Arizona. But ultimately, I think you just like to see things just really settle down as far as the two deep. I mean, by the time they come down the hill from Camp Arizona, it's going to be about 3 weeks until game day. So you just want to have just a more, I would say, established format of what this team really looks like in terms of rotation. So to make sure that you just have that in place, and maybe concentrate on some other preseason aspects that you need to make sure that are all sewed up ahead of the season opener.
Well, Hod, as always, your insight is much appreciated. Camp Arizona next week. We'll be there every single day, Wednesday through Saturday, with all the coverage. So to stay tuned, go to DevilsDigest.com. Follow Devils Digest on Twitter at Devils Digest. As always, I'm Justin Lacertosa. That's Publisher Hod Urbino. We'll talk to you guys in Camp T.